The Amish secret to keeping pests out of your garden forever. What if I told you that there are people living just a few hours from some of the biggest cities in America who never spray a single drop of pesticide on their gardens, yet their crops grow tall, strong, and almost completely pest-free every single year? No chemicals, no fancy gadgets, no expensive sprays from the hardware store. Just a set of quiet, powerful secrets passed down from generation to generation. Secrets that most of the modern world has completely forgotten about. These are the Amish, and their gardens? They look like something straight out of a fairy tale. But here's the wild part. Some of the plants and methods they use are starting to disappear, quietly, slowly. Some gardeners believe that certain of these plants could even become restricted or harder to grow in the years to come. That's why what you're about to learn today matters more than you might think. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how the Amish keep pests away without chemicals, which plants they rely on that you can grow right now, and why growing them today might be the smartest gardening decision you ever make. So stay with me all the way to the end, because the best parts are saved for last. And before we dive in, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Here at Easy Grow Garden, we share real, useful, simple gardening knowledge every single week. And this might just change the way you garden forever. All right, let's go. Who are the Amish, and why should gardeners listen to them? The Amish are a group of people, mostly living in places like Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana, who choose to live a simple life. They don't use electricity the way most of us do. They ride horses instead of driving cars. They build their own homes, make their own food, and grow almost everything they eat. And here's what makes them so fascinating to gardeners like us. They've been doing this for over 300 years. Think about that. 300 years of figuring out what works. 300 years of watching pests, learning from mistakes, studying the land. While the rest of the world was switching to chemical pesticides in the 1940s and 50s, the Amish just kept doing what they'd always done, and it worked. Their gardens are not just alive, they are thriving. Lush green leaves, fat, healthy vegetables, fruit trees heavy with blossoms. And the bugs? The bad ones stay away, not because of sprays, not because of traps, but because of something far smarter. They use nature itself as their defense. You see, pests are not random. They don't just wander into your garden by accident. They're looking for something: food, shelter, a safe place to lay their eggs. The Amish figured out a long time ago that if you change what your garden looks like, smells like, and feels like, the bad bugs stop coming, and the good bugs start arriving to help you instead.
Now, here's where things get really exciting. The Amish don't just plant vegetables in rows and hope for the best. They plant in communities. They mix things together on purpose. They know that certain plants, when placed next to each other, protect each other like best friends watching each other's backs. This is called companion planting, and the Amish have turned it into an art form. But companion planting is only part of the story. The other part? Specific plants that pests absolutely, positively cannot stand. Let me walk you through them, one by one. Plant number 1, marigolds, the Amish garden guardian. If there is one plant that every single Amish gardener grows, it is the marigold. Now, you might think, a flower? What can a little flower do against pests? Oh, friend, don't let the pretty orange and yellow petals fool you. Marigolds produce a scent, a strong, sharp, almost spicy smell that comes from deep inside their roots and leaves. To us, it smells kind of nice, but to aphids, whiteflies, nematodes, and even certain beetles, it smells like danger. Pests avoid marigolds like a cat avoids water. The Amish plant marigolds around the borders of their gardens like a golden fence. They tuck them between tomato plants. They line them up next to peppers and beans. Wherever vegetables grow, marigolds stand guard nearby. And here's something magical. Marigolds also attract good bugs, ladybugs, parasitic wasps, hoverflies. These are the insects that eat the bad bugs. So by planting marigolds, you're not just repelling pests, you're calling in an army of helpers. You can start growing marigolds from seed. They're incredibly easy, and they bloom from spring all the way until the first frost. If you only plant one new thing in your garden this year, let it be marigolds. Plant number 2, basil, the tomato's best friend. Here's a little story the Amish have known for a very long time. If you plant basil right next to your tomatoes, something amazing happens. The tomatoes grow healthier and taste sweeter, and the pests leave them alone. Scientists have actually looked into this and found that basil releases compounds, tiny invisible chemicals into the air that confuse and repel common tomato pests like aphids, spider mites, and hornworms. But to the Amish, they didn't need a scientist to tell them. Their grandmothers knew it. Their great-grandmothers knew it. It was just something you did. You always plant basil with tomatoes. Always. And there's a bonus. Basil attracts bees, which means better pollination, which means more tomatoes. You win twice. Plant it close, within a foot or two of your tomato plants, and snip off the flowers when they start to appear. That keeps the plant producing those protective oils all season long. Plant number 3, lavender, the smell that sends pests running. Close your eyes and imagine the smell of lavender, that clean, calming, beautiful scent that makes people feel relaxed. Now imagine you're a moth or a flea beetle or a Japanese beetle. To them, that same smell is absolutely horrifying. Lavender is one of the most powerful pest-repelling plants that exists on this earth. The Amish grow it in large clumps throughout their gardens and even near the entrances of their barns and homes. It keeps moths away from fabric, deer away from vegetable patches, and dozens of garden pests from getting too comfortable.
And lavender is a perennial. That means you plant it once and it comes back year after year after year. It asks for very little, just some sun and well-drained soil. And in return, it works for you every single season, getting bigger and stronger each time. Plant number 4, nasturtiums, the trap crop trick. Now this one is a little sneaky, and I love it. Nasturtiums are bright, cheerful flowers that come in red, orange, and yellow. They grow fast, they're beautiful, and they have a secret power that the Amish use with great cleverness. Nasturtiums act as a trap crop. You see, aphids love nasturtiums. They go absolutely crazy for them. So the Amish plant nasturtiums away from their main vegetables, over to the side, at the edges of the garden. The aphids rush over to the nasturtiums, totally ignoring the tomatoes and cabbages and cucumbers they actually care about. Then, once the nasturtiums are covered in aphids, the ladybugs and other good bugs follow. They feast on the aphids, the nasturtiums recover, and the main garden stays clean. Isn't that clever? Using one plant to lure pests away from everything else. It's like setting a decoy. Pure Amish genius. Plant number 5, dill and fennel, the bug patrol headquarters. The Amish also grow tall, feathery herbs like dill and fennel throughout their garden. And here's why. These plants are incredible habitat for beneficial insects. Ladybugs, lacewings, parasitic wasps, and predatory beetles all love to live in dill and fennel. They rest there, they lay their eggs there, they use it as a home base. And from that home base, they patrol the rest of the garden, hunting down aphids, caterpillars, and all kinds of pests. You're not just growing herbs, you're building bug hotels for the good guys. The bigger picture, how the Amish garden thinks. Now, if you step back and look at everything we've talked about so far, you'll notice something important. The Amish don't think about their garden as a collection of individual plants. They think about it as a living community, an ecosystem, a neighborhood where every plant has a job. Some plants feed, some plants protect, some plants attract helpers, some plants distract enemies. And when every plant is doing its job, the whole garden becomes almost self-defending. Compare that to how most modern gardens work. One type of vegetable planted in a big row, all alone with no neighbors, no protection, no helpers nearby. It's like sending one person into a dangerous situation with no backup. Of course the pests win. The Amish understood something we forgot. Diversity is strength. When your garden has many different plants, different smells, different textures, different heights, different colors, pests get confused. They can't find what they're looking for. And even when one pest does show up, there's usually a natural predator nearby ready to deal with it. This is why the Amish garden almost seems magical. It's not magic, it's just balance. Why you should grow these plants right now. So let's talk about why now matters. Why not next year? Why not someday? Why right now? Reason number 1, seed saving. Every one of these plants we've talked about, marigolds, basil, lavender, nasturtiums, dill, produces seeds that you can collect and save. If you grow them this season and save the seeds, you'll never have to buy them again. You'll have your own supply forever, no matter what happens in the seed market. The Amish have always done this. They don't rely on a seed catalog. They save seeds every autumn, store them carefully through the winter, and plant them again in the spring, generation after generation. That's how these plants have survived for so long.
If you start doing the same thing, you become part of that chain. You're not just a gardener, you're a guardian. Reason number 2, your garden needs them this season. Right now, somewhere in your garden, there are pests waiting. Aphids scouting, beetles looking for a home, moths checking your leaves for a good spot to lay eggs. Every season you wait is another season of fighting those pests with sprays and stress. But if you plant even just a few of these Amish companion plants this year, even just marigolds and basil, you will feel the difference. Your plants will be healthier. You'll see more butterflies, more bees, more ladybugs, and you'll find yourself reaching for the pesticide bottle less and less. Reason number 3, it's easier than you think. Look, gardening can feel complicated. There are so many products, so many techniques, so many things people say you have to do. It can be overwhelming. But these plants, they are some of the easiest things you will ever grow. Marigolds grow from seed in a few weeks. Nasturtiums practically plant themselves. Basil thrives in a pot on your windowsill. Lavender, once planted, will take care of itself for years. You don't need a big yard, you don't need expensive tools, you just need a little bit of soil, some sunlight, and the knowledge you've just learned today. Start small. Even 3 or 4 of these plants tucked into your garden this season can make a real difference. Putting it all together, the simple Amish garden layout. So now let's talk about how to actually do this. How do you set up your garden the Amish way? Here's a simple starting point that anyone can follow. First, think of your garden in 3 zones: the border, the middle, and the centerpiece. The border is the outer edge of your garden. This is where you plant your marigolds and your lavender. They form a protective ring around everything inside. Pests that approach from the outside get hit with that strong smell first, and many of them will just turn around and leave. The middle is where your vegetables grow: your tomatoes, your peppers, your cucumbers, your beans. But you don't plant them alone. You tuck basil in between the tomatoes. You place nasturtiums off to one side as your trap crop. You let a couple of dill plants grow tall near the back to house your beneficial insects. The centerpiece, if you have the space, is a small patch of flowering herbs: fennel, dill, perhaps some chamomile or yarrow. This is your bug hotel, your wild corner, your insect sanctuary. Leave it a little wild. Don't tidy it too much. The messier it looks, the more creatures will want to live there, and those creatures are your most loyal garden defenders. That's it. 3 zones, a few key plants, and the garden starts working for itself. Now, you don't have to do all of this at once. Start with the marigold border. That alone will make a difference. Then add the basil next to your tomatoes. Then try a nasturtium trap crop. Build it slowly, season by season, the way the Amish build everything: patiently, steadily, with care. Before we wrap up, there's one more piece of Amish wisdom I have to share with you because it ties everything together. The Amish say, take care of the soil and the soil will take care of your plants. And this is not just a nice saying, it's a scientific truth. Here's the thing about pests that most people don't know. Pests are actually more attracted to weak plants than healthy ones. Think about it like this. Imagine two kids in a classroom. One is well-fed, well-rested, happy, and strong. The other hasn't eaten much, didn't sleep, and is already feeling sick. Which one is more likely to catch a cold? The second one, right? Because when you're weak, you can't defend yourself. Plants are exactly the same. A plant growing in poor, depleted soil, without enough nutrients, without healthy microbes, without proper moisture, is a magnet for pests. It's sending out stress signals that bugs can actually detect. It's like a dinner bell. But a plant growing in rich, healthy, living soil, it's strong. It produces its own natural defenses. Its leaves are thick and tough. Its immune system is working. And pests, they move on to easier targets.
The Amish feed their soil with compost, decomposed leaves, food scraps, animal manure. They rotate their crops so the soil never gets depleted. They mulch heavily to keep moisture in and weeds out. So as you start adding these pest-repelling plants to your garden, also think about your soil. Add compost if you can. Even a thin layer on top makes a difference. Healthy soil grows healthy plants, and healthy plants defend themselves. Let me leave you with something that I think about a lot. Somewhere in Pennsylvania right now, an Amish grandmother is walking through her garden in the early morning light. Her garden is full of color, gold and purple and deep, rich green. The air smells like lavender and basil and earth. Bees are humming. A ladybug is climbing a tomato stem. She didn't buy any of this peace. She didn't spray anything to create this balance. She just followed what her mother taught her, who learned from her mother going back hundreds of years. And here's the beautiful thing. Those same secrets, they're yours now. What you learned today isn't complicated. It's not expensive. It's not new. It's actually very, very old. And it's been waiting, patient as a seed in winter, for someone to remember it and bring it back to life. You have that chance now. Every time you plant a marigold, you're joining a tradition that stretches back generations. Every time you tuck basil beside your tomatoes, you're speaking a quiet language that farmers have spoken for centuries. Every time you save a seed from your nasturtiums and plant it again the next spring, you're protecting something precious, something that doesn't belong to any company or any government, but to all of us. Start this season. Start small. Start with just one plant if that's all you can do, because a single marigold planted in the right place today could become 100 marigolds next year. And that garden you've been dreaming about, the one that's full of life and color and free of chemicals, it starts with exactly this kind of knowledge. The Amish didn't keep these secrets to themselves. They just lived quietly, hoping the rest of the world would eventually catch up. Well, here you are. Now, I want to hear from you. Which one of these plants are you most excited to try? Are you a marigold believer already, or are you going to try nasturtiums as a trap crop for the first time? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. And if this video taught you something new, something that made you think differently about your garden, please give it a like. It only takes a second, and it helps this channel reach other gardeners who really need this information. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button right now. We put out new gardening content every week here at Easy Grow Garden. Practical, simple, real advice that actually works. And share this video with a friend or a family member who has a garden. You might just give them the best growing season they've ever had. Until next time, keep your hands in the soil, your heart in the garden, and remember, nature already has the answers. We just have to know where to look. See you in the next one.